The following presentation is a production of Ride the Wave Media.
So, Ben, I hear you're getting ready to record your new special. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I am. So I actually have to confess a little bit. I attempted to record a special the very first time that I headlined because I'm a perfectionist and I think I can just do that. So
Wait,
the
was that the
very
show that I saw?
no, that wasn't the one. So that was
Was a
back in
different one.
March of 23. It was my first show that I'd ever headlined. It was a great show. Like we had a really great time. The show actually kind of created some controversy here in Daybreak because I
Nice.
got into the Daybreak residence page and was like, "Hey y'all, I grew up on a Mormon polygamous compound. Now I'm a
I
comic, and I'm gonna like
remember
go and
this.
do this. Yeah, I'm gonna go and do this thing. So like, come and see me." And then a couple people got on there and they were like, Mormons aren't polygamous and you're lying, blah, 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 blah. And what I did is I just was like super nice. And I was like, I think that there's enough room in here in Utah for all of us. I was very kind, very sweet, very polite because I knew that there were tons of ex-Mormons in that group that wouldn't defend themselves, but would defend me. So they
Yes.
came out in droves. In fact, it got so bad that they were fighting. So people in the Daybreak residents group went to ex-Mormon groups, posted clips of the fight that was happening, recruited people from that group to come and defend me, and it got like 250 comments before the moderators shut it down. Like they turned it off, which meant
Man.
that the show sold out. There were 280 people there, and the energy was just off the charts. It was amazing. And I had a friend come in, a really high quality videographer, and he filmed the whole thing. It's great. Like it's on YouTube right now, and I'm really proud of it. Like it was a great night. The jokes worked. The energy was just amazing and incredible, but it was not a special. It was my first time. It was my first time doing something. But what's fun is that so since then that was about 18 months ago, and since then I've headlined. So I've done my hour about like I don't even know exactly how many, but it's over a dozen times. So I've done it a bunch of times, and which means that I've written a lot more material. I've been able to condense and kind of trim the fat on because whenever you tell a joke, the first time you tell it, you use probably you're it's maybe three times as long as it needs to be because you think you have to explain everything and you really don't. You just have to get to the funny part. And so that's what's going on in that special in that special in that video is I take a
You get
lot of
there
time.
eventually.
I get there eventually, but I could get there a lot more efficiently. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited because I've been crafting that. I think I have enough to just get them laughing right at the top and then just punch 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 for the whole hour.
Yes.
Yeah, and
I
I'm
am
I'm doing that
so
on.
excited.
Thanks. It's going to be fun. It's on July 26th and 27th at Wise Guys, and I've got 2 nights for it. I've got a couple really great openers, and yeah. So if anybody's listening and wants to come be part of what will be a historic event, the
I'm
first
sure it
time
will be.
that King Benjamin has prophesied since Book of Mormon times. Uh,
Jeez. This
yeah,
needs
I
to
mean
be
it's
heard.
it does need to be heard, and people can do it. So yeah, thanks for asking. Hey everybody, welcome to Vibing the Apocalypse. It's been a little while. Today is 1579 of the apocalypse.
Ugh.
So that's how I feel too, especially considering that we have officially entered the locust phase of the apocalypse and the destruction of America phase of the apocalypse. So we're
Are
both of
we
those
talking
things
about
are
the
happening.
crickets?
We're talking about the crickets and the election.
Oh,
So I
there
don't
was
know
one.
which one of
Oh, I mean, both of them bother me.
in fact they're kind of the same because both of the candidates kind of look like locusts. Like just like ancient grasshoppers, just in fact, Biden to me looks like a grasshopper Trump looks like those really gross, I think they're called Jerusalem crickets. Have you seen those? They're like with the big bulbous, they look like gigantic ants that fucked a
Are they
bee.
orange?
They're orange. Yeah, they're super orange.
They have to be orange. They
Anyway,
would have to be.
that's where we're at. And I'm sitting down with my good friend Amanda. Amanda, tell us a little bit about you. Why are you on this podcast about the apocalypse?
Well, I've kind of been through an apocalypse or two of my own. I am Amanda McCombs, and I just started doing a podcast, Inner Workings of the Not So Genius Mind, where I kind of start unraveling. And it wasn't until I listened to your podcast, actually, Ben, that I was like, oh, yeah, people do have multiple apocalypses in their own lives. Like you can have personal ones. And just recently, last August, I lost my mom. And that was after I had shingles go through my face and her house burnt down. And we put my dad on hospice. And that was all within since February 2023.
Wow. That is an apocalypse.
Yeah, it is. But I competed in a beauty pageant. I'm also Mrs. Daybreak. So what the heck?
What the heck?
I had never done one of those before. We don't need to talk about it right now.
What made you decide to do a beauty pageant?
So it was actually, my mom died at the end of August, and I wasn't eating or sleeping, and I was really, really depressed. It happened very suddenly. She just went into a gas station bathroom and didn't come back out.
Oh my God.
And then we get like a text message that says, hey, everybody, we need to talk. And this is after I already had shingles go through my head. A lot of the time, if you were talking to me about a year ago, all the lights would be off and I'd be wearing sunglasses and a hat. So I recovered and I did a lot of growth, and I saw one of my friends. I normally see her she's in sweats whenever I see her. And then I saw these pictures of her on Facebook in pretty dresses, and she said it was because of the beauty pageant. So I signed up, even though I thought I would need a lot of work, and here I am. I'm not sure how much of that you heard.
A little bit of it did cut out because this is the apocalypse and technology only works sometimes. But
in my basement.
In your basement. Oh, with a little kitty cat. Oh my God. Look at that adorable little cat.
This is Alexis. She's one of my fosters. She just climbed up. So you might see a couple of those in and out of the frame if you're watching on YouTube.
Alexis and cats are probably going to take over after we're done here.
Yeah.
Amanda, I'm really excited that you came on. I want to talk a little bit about what you remember when you were a kid. Were you was the apocalypse or the end of the world, was that something that was in your world? Were you kind of tell me a little bit about that. What was that like?
100%. So I'm the youngest of 7 kids, raised LDS. My dad, when he retired, he actually worked at BYU. But when I was born, I know, fancy pants, I did not go there. I'm the only one in my family, I think, that didn't go there. I went to the U. So we would get everyone BYU stuff and then be like, and none for you.
Oh,
just kidding.
And you're like, I don't want it anyway.
He would still get me something, just not BYU. I'm like, thanks, Dad. I feel seen. But yeah, so when I was little, we had a log house in Oregon that we were living in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my parents had built it. And, well, they
off
hadn't
the
built
grid?
it themselves. Not really, no. But we had a lot of acreage. One time my brother stayed home from school and he shot a deer off the back porch.
That sounds like a pretty awesome day off of school.
Right? Well, he called in sick.
He was like,
so Dad made him skin it.
He had to skin it? Oh,
yeah, he had to skin it himself.
I think that's a pretty good, if you're going to kill something, you should probably You should do the whole thing.
You got to take care of all of it.
Yeah.
So like from then Oregon, I don't know. Have you ever been there?
That's not where Seattle's in Washington, right?
Seattle's in Washington, yeah.
Yeah, so I've never been to Oregon, but I really want to because it looks gorgeous.
So pretty. So that's where I
Especially the
spent most of my
forest.
life. Yes. We had so much forest. I love trees and I love green, and it just makes me really sad that I'm in really dry desert Utah right now.
The,
I dry
you're in
out.
the desert of Zion.
Yeah, the armpit.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, so living up there, we had to be ready for anything, right? It took forever to get to the grocery store. We would have to take a cooler with us. One time there was like a cougar in the back of the truck and we had to try to get it out so we could go shopping.
Whoa, like a cat or like a horny old woman?
Like a kitty cat.
Like a kitty
Meow.
cat.
Yeah. That didn't happen until we came to Utah. Lots of cougars everywhere.
Can we just pause there for a minute? One of my favorite things about Mormons is how sexually repressed we are, and how it always what happens because of that is weird stuff. So the church office building,
Yes, I used
it
to live
it
next to it.
it looks like a phallus more than,
Mhm.
because like every skyscraper looks like a penis. But
Okay, but there's two globes.
I know they have the two buildings on the sides, and so it's like not only is there the thing and then the two buildings, but on the two buildings on the side, they they carved giant ovals,
Yeah.
and it's like, did
What else could it be?
how many people had to say yes? How many committees did that go through? Like, and
All of them.
nobody was like, guys, it's a penis. It's a penis.
Because we like don't see any of we don't even know what that stuff is. We won't look
And
for
it's
it.
the same thing. It's the same thing with BYU making their mascot Cougars.
That's where it comes in. I see there. I see.
What are you
Okay.
do? How are you going to be in Provo, Utah, where per capita is arguably the most attractive older women on Earth because
Like I
of the
thought
amount?
Cougar Town, the TV show, was filmed there. It's not.
It could be.
It
If they
should be.
filmed if they filmed Cougar Town in Provo, then old Cougar Town would become Cougar Village, or like the Cougar boonies or something. So it's just
It's
funny
like
to
a
me all of the different.
requirement. They have to look good.
Yeah, I mean it really is, and it's just funny to me that anytime you try to repress erotic energy, you can't. You just can't. It's and then it comes out in like weird buildings and naming your mascot Cougar.
We need to rethink some decisions, I think.
I think
I
I
mean,
think
it's a little too late with the
it is a
building.
little too late with the building. Anyway, so Cougars,
Ah,
where were we? Oh, you had
cougars.
a
Oh,
cougar
cougar in the truck.
in the truck. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you
So,
were a little bit off grid, and so you were kind of already in sort of this prepper mindset. And then how did that play
yeah,
into the end of the world?
it was coming any day.
Yeah.
Like end of times. It could be the second coming was coming any day now. We had to be ready. We had tons of food storage. And there were times where we were like hungry and we couldn't touch the food storage because we
Because
had
we're
to
waiting.
save it for if we need
Which
it.
I think doesn't follow the internal logic of Mormonism, because arguably, if you're righteous, you just need a little bit of food storage. Because one of Jesus's superpowers is that he can take a little bit of food and he can make a lot of food with it. So as long
Okay,
as
and
you
a
have
little bit
like,
of toilet paper. Can we
right, as
talk
long as you have
about
a
that?
little bit and then
Everyone buying like 10 packs of toilet paper when they're like, oh no, why
yeah.
is that the thing we grab? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, how did you feel about the apocalypse, like about the end of the world when you were a kid?
It was just gonna happen any day now. And it was just normal. Like, we were getting ready. We had to be ready for the second coming. We had to make good choices. Like, I had to make sure that I was making good choices so that I could be with my family, because soon
Do
I
you
wasn't gonna.
remember? Do you remember feeling like I remember feeling excited about
Oh
it
yeah.
because the world that I was in was kind of boring, and the idea of like an apocalyptic, like it felt like the beginning of a cool story that I was going to get to be a part of.
Yeah. Because it was for sure gonna happen like while I was alive. Like
100%.
it
And
was
while I was
drilled
young.
yeah, it was drilled into my head like it's gonna happen any day now. Like,
Was there like a narrative that you thought like once it happens, this is what we're going to do? Like, so for me that was we were going to get on wagon trains again, like become pioneers again, and we were going to basically trek back to Jackson County to build a temple.
wow. I don't know what we were gonna do. We were just gonna like, I don't know. I didn't really think about it.
Just kind of be in the end times, I guess.
Yeah, it was just like like I was gonna be fine and I was gonna be safe because I made good choices and I was gonna go to heaven.
Right.
I was gonna be able to be with my family. Jesus
Did
was gonna take care of me.
Oh, Jesus, he's so nice. Was there a moment as an adult where you were kind of like, "Oh, okay, this is not the end of the world is not happening."
I think real talk. I started thinking that when I was a teenager.
Okay. So you kind of become a teenager and you're sort of like, "Oh, the
Like I
world isn't
started
going to
asking,
end."
yeah, I started asking questions, and then like I had friends that were from other religions, and I left when I was like 15, 16. So 20 years. Holy smokes, I should make a cake.
Wow.
Uh,
You should make a cake. You should have a party. And I'm actually on that. My dad, I still haven't done this. My dad, when I left polygamy and joined the LDS Church, my dad prophesied that within 10 years I would come back to polygamy. And that was, well, that was actually probably 15 years ago. But I thought about it and I was like, I should have a I'm still not Mormon or I'm still not polygamist party,
you should.
which would be fun. I think that would be a good time.
And you can have
So
polygamy porn.
when I could have polygamy porter. I could have I could just surround myself with a bunch of women who are not my wives, and it could be a really great time.
Easy to do.
It actually is. It's pretty. It turns out when you're respectful and funny, uh, women enjoy that. They're pretty. They like to be around people who are like that.
What?
It's
Is that what
wild.
it
Yeah,
is?
it's actually yeah, but just be respectful, be funny, and and actually I think the third one really is genuinely like women. I think
You
that
can.
most of the like the red pill kind of like movement where they're like really angry at women and they say that they like women. I don't think they actually do. Like I don't think that most men actually enjoy the company of women. I think they just have an idea of what women should be for them and they want that. But they don't actually enjoy like talking to women or hanging out with women or getting to know women. They don't actually like any of that stuff, uh, which is gross. It's kind of a gross thing to put on another human.
Well, women have kind of always been like a possession, right?
Yeah,
We're like a thing. We're not like supposed to have thoughts and ideas, and we couldn't go to school when we were like historical times. You were not allowed to be
right.
educated. You weren't supposed to know how to read. You weren't supposed to know how
Not
to
even historical times, like
own
60 years
property.
ago.
We couldn't even have credit. I can't remember when it was, but it's like recently you couldn't even get a
It was like
business
50 years
license.
ago that you couldn't even get a credit card.
Yeah, it's nuts. But like, and
It's
I think women
insane.
are kind of starting to wake up and notice, and these are not things that we want to have happen, right? The whole man versus bear thing, and people are
Yeah.
upset because we
Oh
want to
my
choose the
God.
bear. You don't even have to be in the woods, right?
That man versus bear thing was crazy to me. Like,
Oh gosh.
because, and this is the reason why it was crazy to me. I have actually chased a bear away. Like in my life, when
Wow.
I used to go backpacking every summer in Yosemite with a group of friends, and in Yosemite National Park into the backcountry. We'd spend a whole week out there, and we'd go to this place called Lake Vernon, which is gorgeous. It's like this really remote lake in this just pristine granite valley. Like
Mm,
everything's granite. And so
yeah.
there's like these trees that are growing out of these granite cracks, and the water is just super clear and super pretty. And
That's so
we went there several times over several years. And the first time we went there, there was a bear that kind of ate through some of our stuff, so we left. And then we came back like 2 years later to the same spot, and the same bear was there. And we spent like all day chasing, like it kept trying to get into our camp. It was just like a little, I'm not little. It was like it was bigger than us, but it was just a brown bear, right? It
yeah.
was just a brown bear, and there's a lot of humans, and so we just like threw rocks, and we could keep it away, but it was persistent, right? It kept coming back,
Yeah.
and so we decided we'll camp here tonight. We'll put all of our stuff up so that it doesn't get into it, and we'll camp here tonight, and then tomorrow we're gonna go find somewhere else. And so I wanted to take a little bath the next morning before we left. And so
Mm,
I woke up before like really early. I went down. I took some of my clothes. I kind of took a bath in the lake. I washed my clothes, and I'm just sort of there hanging out. I'm like naked. I put on my underwear. I'm washing my clothes, and then I hear someone, one of the people in the group yells. I just hear him yell, "Ben, the bear!" And I turn around, and I've walked down this like granite slab to get into the water,
oh
and
no.
the bear is walking down the slab towards me. And I've seen this bear operate in the water because the day before when we were chasing it, one of the things we chased it into the lake for a while and it just swam, no problem. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
if I can't swim away from this bear, that will not work. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I only have one option here. Like there's only one thing that I can do, which is I can try to scare this bear. And you know what I look like. I'm 140 pounds soaking wet. And so I stood up as tall as I could. I puffed out my chest. I grabbed my pants that I was washing and I just swung them around my head to make myself as big as possible. And I just ran at that bear as loudly as I could. And I was like, "Hey, bear, get away!" Rah! I like just went full tilt towards it. And sure enough, it turned around, ran up over the rise, and I chased it away into the forest. And as I came up over the rise, I saw my entire crew of like 8 people all standing on this big boulder watching me chase this bear away in my underwear. And the point of that story is I'm physically basically a woman. And
Yeah.
I was able to safely chase a bear away. And if that had been a man,
Nope.
probably
Absolutely.
not. In
Yeah.
fact, if I ran at that man and like rah, 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 like that, that might have made the man more likely to eat me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's not only that bears are safer than men, it's that literally you can chase a bear away. You can tell a bear no,
Mm-hmm.
and probably they're going to listen to you if you say it loud enough and harshly enough. And the louder and harsher you are with your no towards a man that intends you harm, the less likely it is that he'll listen to you, which is
Yeah.
horrifying. That's horrifying.
Mm-hmm. I have actually been raped 3 times at like 3 different times in my life. Sorry, trigger warning. But and it like they were all very different situations. Um and none of it was received well. So like of course we stay quiet. And at
Of
least with the
course you stay
bear,
quiet.
you can leave it in the woods. It
Right.
doesn't
You
follow
can
you
leave it in the
home.
woods. It's not going to fall. It's not going to, after a bear tries and eats you, it's not going to tell everyone that you lied about
Hmm.
that encounter. It's not going
Right?
to, all of society isn't going to be like, well, what were you wearing that made that bear go at you?
Right? And
Right?
why is it about what I'm wearing and not about why the person did whatever they did? Because I can control myself. They should be able to control themselves.
They should be able to. Yeah. I think that, and this is sort of like going in, getting into the apocalypse a little bit. Um, there are just some shitty men out there, and not all men are supposed to live.
No.
Like I think that one of the things we should do in the new world is I would like to propose that if 12 women vote yes, that any man can be just executed. So we can kill any man as long as 12 women are like, yeah, we should definitely kill that man.
Yeah. With
Because
just cause.
most, yeah, obvious. Well, here's the thing.
Women are
This
more
is the thing.
rational than you guys think.
Women, women are not going, like, women understand viscerally the cost of life. And so, no, but there are definitely some crazy women. I have encountered some of them. Batshit
Dude.
crazy. But most women, given that responsibility, probably what would happen is that we would weed out some pretty shitty men, and then the rest of us would be a lot happier. Because a woman who understands the cost isn't going to just willy nilly be like, yeah, let's kill all of the men. No, but maybe some of them, maybe the
Maybe
ones
the
that are,
arms.
yeah,
We just need to be a little smarter. Well, and I was actually talking to my husband about this because like I big Mormon family, right? Like you had to have a lot of kids, and the point of having a lot of kids was so that you could use your kids to spread the truth, right? And
mm-hmm.
save all these people because they'd be able to go to heaven. But there are too many people.
Oh, so many. 8 billion humans. Think about all of the people that you know, like all of the humans you've ever encountered.
Yeah,
At least 10% of them, maybe 20% of them, we don't need.
right?
Like they're just not doing. And this isn't me saying, I just want to be clear, this isn't me saying we should kill people. That's
Oh,
not what I'm saying.
absolutely.
This is me saying Gaia is probably going to kill some of us. Gaia is probably going to kill a lot of us, and probably good, because I mean, if you think about what humans have done to the planet, to the world, to minorities, like to all of these different groups of things that we should have taken care of, and the way that we haven't done that, we're due for some apocalyptic judgment.
Yeah. Well, and I like how you were talking about how Gaia is going to come and take things back because, where we're living, our air quality is awful. I know tons of people that are asthmatic. There's mold, there's chemicals everywhere. It's just going to happen. It's a whole survival of the fittest thing. And it's not by any means, no. I love people. I love children. I'm an elementary school teacher, for goodness sakes, on sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
But um, it's just too much. And
It's too
we can't
many.
keep up. There's the production of our resources is not great, and we can't replace everybody with robots like they do in some video games. It's just the world it's a mess, especially the
Yeah,
United States right now.
especially, yeah, which is actually kind of maybe feeds us into into what to me is the most hilarious irony of my life, which is because that's why I asked the question about if you stopped believing in the apocalypse, because I also did, right? I leave Mormonism, and I'm like,
Like,
fuck
the
yeah.
end of the world isn't
The
coming,
world is
right?
the end of the world isn't coming. Things are great. I can do whatever I want. And then COVID happens, and in 2020, and everything after that, and everything that's still continuing. And
What
I
day
was
are
like,
we on?
1,579.
Okay,
That's
thanks.
how I'm counting it. Yeah. And I think we've got quite a bit of a ways to go. Buckle up.
Yeah.
We've got maybe we're a third of the way through. But what I've realized is that I was expecting an apocalypse that would happen like this, right? That there would be
Yeah.
one thing and then the world would be drastically different. And what I've realized is an apocalypse is a slow burn, right? We think of a great analogy to me is Rome, where we want to put a nice little date around it. We want to say Rome fell on this day. And that didn't happen. Rome declined over hundreds of years to the point where it became irrelevant and society shifted, right? And I think what happens with humans, I think that what happens with, uh, and sort of one of the big tragedies of America, or as I like to call it, Turtle Island, is that the humans that were here before America invaded, were living in harmony with the land, and they developed this ecosystem that was in homeostasis, where the land fed them and then they fed the land, and it just kept kind of moving in balance. And then that made resources on this continent abundant. And then
Mm-hmm.
Europe invaded and just sucked up all of those resources, and capitalism tried to like take everything and maximize it, right? Extract as much value as quickly as possible. And what happens when a society does that is that it overextends itself, which is what we've done. We have too many people.
Yeah.
We've used too many resources. The things that we've done, it's not just COVID, right? It's the way that we've treated our water. It's the way that we've treated our. I read this back when I taught high school. Like, this is 6 years ago. I was teaching an earth science class, and one of the books that we read was called Dirt, and it was just about the erosion of topsoil in the United States. And we have like maybe 20 or 30 years left of good topsoil, meaning that after that, we can't feed ourselves anymore. So we've oriented ourselves towards Gaia, towards the earth, right? Towards that green, life-giving organism that we came from. And we've thought about that as something that we can dominate and control, that we can rape, right? That we can actually go in there and take what we want from it without
Yep.
understanding the way in which we can't really do that. Because when we do that, we overextend, and then we experience what we're experiencing now, which is everyone in America is super sick. We have shit food. Our
Yep.
politics are falling to pieces. The
Yep.
entire And we've done that to the whole world, right? If you think about global warming, you know, the thing that no one ever really talks about with global warming that I think is obvious is whose fault it is. Whose fault is global warming?
The
White
people.
Western civilization.
100%. I believe that.
Like, why is there an ocean of plastic or an island of plastic in the Pacific Ocean?
Because we put it there.
It's because white America put it there. Why have we used all of these fossil fuels? It's because everyone in America needs a car. Some of us need
Right?
5 cars, right? And so we've created this abundant lifestyle with no regard to the impact on the people who were here before, whose land we stole. We've created it with no regard to the environment and how that needs to be uh, dealt with respectfully and sustainably. And
Yeah.
and then we've created this massive amount of wealth, and this illusion of this illusion of wealth that now everyone else in the world is trying to mimic, because
Right?
they want a piece of the good life before it's gone too. And that has created this massively unsustainable system that is crashing right now.
It is. Well, and like we think about the American dream and we think about the white picket fence and the car in the garage and enough food in the fridge to feed your family and all that stuff. And then The American dream isn't built for people at all. It's built for
No, it's really not.
corporations, right? Because we have to work so that we can buy the things and get the health care and take care of ourselves. But then we're working so much because we need the money and we need all the things that we
Yeah.
forget that there's a life to live. And I
Yeah.
think
And
like we were blessed, like we thought because we had so much stuff, like okay, so I lived in that log house and then we moved here when I was 12. And then I lived in Bountiful up by the temple and had nice, big, huge, beautiful house. And we're like, we're blessed because we have all these things. Like, you think that you're given all this stuff or that you're getting all this materialistic whatever because of blessings from God, but that has absolutely nothing to do with it,
yeah. And
right?
not only that, the cost of maintaining that, oh, on the back of this kills me. When I learned, have you heard about I'm trying to think, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's basically the 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 way that, so when we came to America, when white European civilization came to America, they looked at it and they were like, look at all of this untamed wilderness. And what was actually going on is a very carefully cultivated and crafted ecosystem managed by the native peoples that literally you could just walk around and eat food wherever. Like, free food was everywhere.
I feel
You
like that's
had,
how the Amazon rainforest is. And now that's going away too.
and now that's going away too. Which I think there's this awesome. I follow a lot of native creators on TikTok. And I think that one of the, if I, as the prophet who gets to proclaim whatever it is that we should do, I think one of the things we should immediately do is put the natives in charge,
Yes.
because they understand how to build a society and to create systems that are sustainable and that give, like, literally the entire continent was just a breadbasket where there was just food. Like, I was watching this video talking about the different levels of the forests that we came and just chopped down. And it was like there were nuts in the overstory. There was fruit that created this rich bottom where there were like all of these root vegetables growing, and then the game was so literally you just walked around and there was free food everywhere. And so we've created this appearance of wealth, but it's a wealth that chains us into being wage slaves, so that
Yeah.
we can just so we have to keep grinding so that we can afford to eat. And it's built on the corpse of free food for everyone.
Yeah, for real. That's so sad. Well, and like, oh, it's almost impossible to keep up. But one of the really cool things that I think that they're doing in at BYU, sorry, I know I just talked smack, is this Arts Express conference because they have a lot of Native American artists there, and
Mm,
they really want to make sure that people are getting educated. They have all kinds of kits and things. And a lot of it is about like conservation and taking care of our environment. And um, anyway, it's really, really cool. And I
I
didn't
think that is
realize,
so
I guess
important.
I didn't think about how. Thank you for bringing that down. I love you too. Please go. No. Okay. Just go, please. Thank you. It's my teenager that has to be a part of everything.
That's what teenagers are for, actually.
For real. Um, but they did a really great job. One year I went and we talked a lot about recycling and just how the Utah Lake, they did a whole dance about the Utah Lake shrinking and then how it
Mm.
grew, like it filled with water again, and they were celebrating that. Um,
Ooh, I love that.
but like there's so much more that has to be done. And that's only one, like it's enough people to fill a high school auditorium. And That's a
Yeah,
very
and
small
that
in Utah.
that feels so urgent in Utah right now. And I think part of that is us acknowledging where we are and respecting the version of Gaia that lives here, right? We are a desert. We shouldn't have golf courses.
No.
Lawns? Are you kidding me? Grass?
Why are we
We
wasting so much water? Like what I would
it
love, and I live in Daybreak, but I would love to like be able to have whatever I have in my yard have a purpose.
hmm
So I don't want things just that look pretty. Like I want to grow basil and mint and blackberries and things like
totally.
that, or like
And
lemongrass, whatever medicinal stuff.
there are so many native plants. Like this just happened in the right before I moved. There was a big dirt abandoned lot behind my house,
Oh
and
yeah.
all through that growing were these beautiful native flowers that are thick. They got these thick stems. They've got those little tiny yellow flowers. They were
Yeah.
growing and they were just abundant. And then the HOA sent the yard work team and they mowed it all down, all gone. So now there's just barren, hot dirt and rocks.
Why?
Why? Why? Why are we so fixated on making the world look a certain way rather than understanding what it's supposed to look like where we are and then nurturing that? Because what they could have done is they could have been like, okay, what are the plants that are native to this? What does this plant do? How could we create a system that would help create a, because it turns out there are grasses that are native to Utah. There are
Yeah.
flowers that are native to Utah. There are all of these really beautiful parts of this ecosystem that if we would just be humble and just acknowledge that we can't change the land, at least not permanently, and at least not without dire consequences to ourselves, and just rather become allies of the land and stewards of the land and help it kind of the nurturers of the land, it would change our entire society, and then we wouldn't be dealing with the apocalyptic event that's coming for northern Utah, which is
Right.
the Great Salt Lake drying up, which is just going to flood this region with arsenic and a whole bunch of gross heavy metals that have settled at the bottom of that lake.
Yeah.
Which feels like Gaia. Honestly, what that feels like is Gaia's time bomb. Gaia's like, look, you have exactly this long to get in alignment with me, or I will murder you with arsenic.
I feel like that looks like somewhere I would see in Fallout.
Oh, 100%. Totally. In fact, if they have not done Utah in Fallout yet, they really should.
They should. It would be so good. Because I know
Oh,
they've done
imagine
Vegas and they've done Boston and California.
imagine all of the Mormon temples in that Fallout,
Oh,
like the Salt
I
Lake
think we have to
Temple
do a movie.
Fallout style. Oh, that would be rad.
Fallout creators, Bethesda, where are you? Come on,
Actually,
man.
you saw the Fallout show on Amazon, right?
I sure did. Okie dokie.
You remember the? Oh my God, she was so cute. I have a
She
huge
was
crush on her.
perfect. Me too, and I
Perfect.
don't even think
I
that way. I
I
love
just
her.
want to marry her. I want for her to say okie dokie to me so badly. Just that. That's all I need.
Okie
um,
dokie. It was just
okie dokie.
perfect.
It was just. She's like, here we go. I love it. Um, did you catch that? At one point in the show, they used Mormon Tabernacle Choir uh,
Did. Yeah.
in the vaults. Yeah, as some of the music
Well,
that's playing in the background.
and I hadn't heard it in forever. And I, like, my husband was actually, he was watching it without me. And I heard them singing from the other room. And that used to be on like every Sunday. And my brother actually used to do the audio at the Tabernacle downtown whenever they would
No
do like their
way.
Sunday sermon, whatever. And at the conference center, he would run their audio. Um,
Wow.
So when I heard that the other day when he was watching it, I was like, what's going on? Because it put me in full panic. I haven't heard the
It
Mormons
was
have
it
quite
was such
forever.
a great it was such a great usage of that music. And then the other thing that I loved about that for that show is that Mormonism, the experience that so many of us had in Mormonism is exactly like the experience that the vault dwellers have
I
of
think
like
that's
waking up
like
to realize, yeah, waking up to realize, oh, this whole system that I've
no,
built my life around has
no.
been a lie. Your teenager's like, I have some thoughts about Fallout.
She's trying to. I think she's trying to bring me food, but I'm really not that hungry. This is a lot more important.
You're like, I've got what I need. Um,
Oh, I
I'm
love
looking at
Fallout.
our.
Okay, what do you play Fallout on? Sorry, now I'm distracted
Oh, I've
because I know
got.
you play.
I Yeah, I have an Xbox.
Oh,
I think an Xbox One.
oh, me too.
Oh, can you play Fallout together? Is that like, is there a multiplayer
There is a
option?
76 Fallout
Oh, for
76 you can play
76. I've only played Fallout 4.
together.
76 is 76
For
pretty good?
76 is the only one you can play together, and I started playing it. Guys, you didn't know this. I play video games. Not a lot of them, but I play like a little bit. I'm kind of obsessed with Fallout right now.
Fallout is the shit.
It's really good. It's the only 76 is the only one that you can play, and it was kind of new. Like it's still kind of new, and when it first came out, there were no other human NPCs. It was just robots.
Oh wow. Oh, that's
So
crazy.
you like would just be wandering around, and the only other people you would see there would be any other players.
One of the things I think is the most interesting about Fallout and kind of video games in general is that video games are essentially, I think, they are practice for the apocalypse,
I
right?
don't
Because
think that.
if you think about what kids are doing, the skills that kids are developing while they're playing most video games, it's going after targets, get building an inventory, managing an inventory, create like all of the crafting that you do. Like it's all
Yeah,
digital, right? But it's this whole the pathways that are being laid down are like you have to build all of these things, and which is why like people are like, oh, kids these days, if the world ended, they'd just be able to play video games and they'd all die. No, because all of the skills that they've learned playing Minecraft and Fallout and Fortnite would immediately
right.
come into play.
They kind of need some of those problem solving skills that you have to have.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool,
it,
but there's like a
it
limit.
is. Right,
Just don't.
obviously. Go outside and touch. That's my kids. This is I think Gen Z, but touch grass. Have you heard that?
Yeah, touch
I
grass.
love that. Like, let's go outside, touch grass. So we'll play video games with the kids for a while, and then I'm like, okay, guys, I'll if I try to get them off, if I'm just like, guys, it's time to get off, no more screens, blah blah blah, it doesn't work. But if I'm like, hey guys, let's go touch
Yeah.
grass, they're like, oh yeah, you're right, we do need to go touch some grass right now,
That's really
or
smart.
because
You should
we're
teach kids.
yeah, just speak their language, right? Speak their language, and they'll listen. I
Yeah.
think we're coming up on time, so we have two more questions, two more things to
Oh yeah.
do today, Amanda.
Yeah. Let's
Uh,
get it.
the
I lost my
first is, do you have an apocalyptic skill that you would like to share or that you think would be valuable in the apocalypse?
gardening.
Tell me more.
Well, here's my problem though. I'm not good at outside plants, but I really love taking care of plants inside. Outside
Inside
plants,
plants seem like a great, I mean,
right?
especially in Utah with the air that we have, inside plant gardening seems like a great apocalyptic skill.
I love it. And I got so
What
many
kind of
plants everywhere.
what kind of indoor gardening do you do?
I just have pots all over the place. I really want to have an herb garden, like hanging. I have this kitchen window that gets great morning light, and I want to put a bar in between my cabinets and have all my herbs hanging down from there.
Ooh,
Pretty
oh, that
much
would be
just want to be
so
like a
cool.
kitchen witch.
Oh, I love this. A
But I
kitchen
love
witch.
like my mom. So part of my apocalypse was her house burning down right after I got shingles.
Mm.
Um, and they were up in Preston, Idaho, and they had property up there. So they had I think they had like 7 acres of alfalfa, and they had a bunch of trees, and they were 100% preppers. They were canning and jarring all the time, and they would barter and trade with their neighbors. They would all go in on a cow together. They had it, they had it
They
set
had
up
it figured
great.
out. Yeah.
Yes, and he did have a lot of guns. And
You
he
have
would
to.
talk to me, right? He would talk to me all the time. Both of them, my mom and my stepdad, would talk to me all the time and be like, "Make sure you have enough gas in your tank to come up here because we've got everything you need. This is where you're gonna come for the apocalypse." And then
I wish that I had friends like
fire,
that now.
fire plus guns.
Oh no. Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah, they lived. Like my mom and stepdad both lived, but then my mom died about 6 months after the fire.
Oh man.
But yeah, so I went up there and I tried to help. Um, and I have pictures and stuff. I'll have to send them to you.
Do
But
they have a
her,
bunker?
no, no, they didn't.
Bummer.
Wish they did. There's cold storage was down in the basement, so that could have been a bunker, but it didn't have everything collapsed down into
Everything
it.
collapsed down into it. Darn it.
Yeah, I went to go see it. I couldn't go see it until after she died because I have this crazy flight thing with my shingles. And it was just like cans and jars of things all over the floor because it all had collapsed, and that's where her storage room was. It was real sad.
Mm, that's a
Little
bummer.
echoes of the past. But I definitely I see things like that all the time. So anytime I play Fallout, it's very soothing and very comforting because it doesn't feel strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Feels familiar.
And I think too, right? Like there's a lot of there's a lot of hope, I guess, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but there's a lot of hope in realizing that something like that can happen and that you can survive. That
Yeah.
you can actually like you can live in this like you walk around in Fallout and it's a wasteland.
Oh
And
yeah.
there are humans still humaning, like still
Still
doing their
human.
things, still figuring it out. And and in fact, like sometimes I think about the overwhelming, and I like this about Fallout too, because there's like plastic crafters, right? There's
Yeah.
like it's like a blacksmith, but it's with plastic, right? So like if you think about the overwhelming amount of stuff that we made in America, we could not make any more stuff as
Yeah.
humans for a long time and just keep reusing all of that stuff because we're clever. Like we're pretty clever at figuring out ways to hack things.
Well, especially because you went to Burning Man,
Yeah,
anything is
twice.
possible.
Anything is
Twice.
possible.
Dope. I need to go.
Twice and hopefully three times. We'll see. I would take. I'm just praying for a burner miracle for this year. Uh, I don't know how that will happen, but if it's supposed to, it will. Because honestly, like that is Burning Man to me is like the apocalypse playground, right? Like that's where you go to play and to practice that preparation because it's like the most harsh, intense environment on Earth, and they're figuring out ways to like. I mean, there are camps there that are totally self-sufficient. That they
That's
bring in their water, they recycle it. They've got electricity from not even from generators, from solar. So they're really practicing this new way of living and they're doing it in a way that's fun and playful, which I think is pretty magical.
that's cool. Well, and I was thinking about this because when I was teaching just recently, I was at an arts integration school, and a lot of the kids have a lot of big feelings, right? Especially
Mm-hmm.
since COVID. It takes a couple years after an event like that for things to kind of go back to normal at school and to get back into that routine because we made them wear masks or come part time, or it was virtual school, or it was just all over the
Yeah.
place. So finding what that normal is and that consistency has been really, really important and huge. But we like coming from that. Geez, sorry, I'm having a trauma response to thinking about that.
It was a
You can't create if you're in fight or flight or fawn
yeah.
freeze. You
Hmm.
can't be your authentic self because you're trying to live for the other people and not step on other people's toes and make sure everyone's happy and okay. But like, where are you in all of that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we lose our lives, especially raised Mormon, me. You have to check all the boxes and you have to look a certain way and you have to be doing all these things to be ready to go to the temple, because after you go to the temple, then you like get married, and then that's, if you don't go to the temple, then you can't live happily ever with your family in heaven. I'm fine with that.
I am too, actually. There's sometimes living forever with your family is not the selling point that they think it is.
No, I love my family, but like, if that's what I have to
I
do, I'll be down here.
Yeah, we'll be hanging out. Okay, last thing, and
Oh, sorry, almost out of time.
okay, last thing. I have a seer stone here.
Mm-hmm.
This is selenite.
Question. Yeah.
It's very nice. Do you have a question that you would like to ask God through this seer stone?
Hmm. Yes, actually.
Okay,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What would be a good use of the temples if they're not used for what they're used for now? Take out the
Ooh, okay.
religious purposes. There's a lot of
Great.
them. They're all over the world,
There are, and they've made so many of them. So here we
and they
go.
keep making them.
In true Mormon fashion,
Yes, in the
give
hat.
me just give me just a moment to consult the rock.
Okay, I'll be waiting.
Okay, so verily, verily, thus saith the Lord
Yes.
unto my servant Amanda
Yeah.
concerning these space castles that have been built upon the land by the Mormon Church.
Mm-hmm.
I did this on purpose because those buildings are really durable and they're made with a lot of really cool stuff. And so when the church falls to pieces, which is going to happen pretty soon, it will collapse under the weight of its own insanity. I want you and all the other ex Mormons to use those buildings as kick ass community centers
I'm in.
where you can give away free food, you can
Yeah.
teach classes to people, you can provide like free therapy and free childcare for people who need it. And the Salt Lake Temple shall be used for a semi annual general orgy
Oh, okay.
where there will be four levels of the orgy. There will be a telestial orgy, a terrestrial orgy, a celestial orgy, and then an outer darkness orgy. And people can go to the orgy that they feel most comfortable with, and it will teach people about sex positivity and consent.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Let's break bread. That
Amanda,
was
if
good.
I had so much fun chatting with you. If people want to hang out with you some more, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me at Not So Genius on pretty much all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Awesome.
That's all I can think of.
And once again, you can follow me, the Fresh King Benjamin, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. And if you are local here in Daybreak, come out to one of my Nightbreak shows. They are every Saturday this
Yes.
summer. This next one on the 13th of July is going to be family friendly, and then the one on the 20th is going to be family antagonistic. So we're going to like be the opposite of that. And then again,
So you go to the right
come
one.
out. Make sure you go to the right one, And then definitely come out and see me on the 26th and 27th of July at Wise Guys, where I will be filming my special. Oh, to wrap up, Amanda, can I just tell you, I have two ideas for the name of my special. Can
Oh,
I float some ideas
yes,
by you?
please.
So the first name that I've thought of, this is one I've played with for a while, but it's My Dad Still Owes Me a Pig,
Yes. Okay, I like it.
which I think is a pretty great name. And then the other one is Apocalypse Prophet.
Oh. Oh, I don't know. The pig one. I love the pig.
Pig, the pig is pretty adorable. I
I
might
love
do, I mean,
I love
I could do more than one. Like I will probably do more than one special, so I can keep
you could
using those
have
names.
yeah,
But yeah, My Dad Still Owes Me a Pig is pretty adorable, I think.
that is pretty adorable. And your pig is pretty cute.
She is so cute. She's sleeping right here. Hey, puppy. Anyway, that's it for
Cool.
today. Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
Thanks
Amanda,
for
for coming
doing
on, and everybody stay safe out there.
Yeah, please. It's dangerous.